Hey, yo, how is everybody doing? Look here. Listen, I got something to say because, and I couldn't wait. I didn't even care about setting up the chat. This is being recorded. This vortex, man, it keeps on spinning and I'm starting to get dizzy. Let's just set the stage for a second, okay? So there is a content curator, I apologize, named Darkside Phil. And this guy has had a lot of infamous moments on the internet. And that's being generous. What I'm here today to do is talk about the most recent developments in the guy's world, because he shares every little bit of data and every little piece of his life on the internet for us to absorb and then regurgitate. So essentially, Comcast is being unfair to the guy. They are impeding on his ability to make money, and he is somehow, some way still able to let people know. He's streaming about it, that he can't get online. So if you follow me on social media, you may know that I was an 11-year technician with said company. And I just gotta... It feels good to kind of like go back into my troubleshooting mode, because I did it for a very long time. And I've seen this a couple of times before. If you follow me on my social media, BM2KX on XApp, you can see I actually posted up a thread of what potentially the problems could have been for the boy, since he's experiencing internet issues. And if he doesn't make money off the internet, then he is, what did he say? He says he's going to die. He says it's going to end everything. You know, just modest stuff, you know. It's either it's not the end of the world or it's the end of the world. It depends on what day of the week it is, or what event is happening in WWE Champions. But essentially, the too long didn't read version of this is the boy is having problems with Comcast, which happens. I know this. And he is making it everybody's problem. And it goes on and on and on, and away we go. So I was watching Chill Murray's restream, his illegal restream, by the way. And I the more he talked about what his potential interaction with Comcast technician is going to be, and his interactions with Comcast as a whole, well, This is my shit right here. Ain't nobody can say out there in the world right now in this situation, I wouldn't know a little bit more than this guy, except for, of course, the guy himself. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. This is what he was talking about. I would love, I'm going to give my honest, meaningful opinion on what he's talking about, and away we go.
What is up, everyone? I'm back.
Can you hear this?
But sadly, my internet issues persist. I'm not exactly sure what's going on.
I have a couple of ideas.
This is a big new release day, and on a day like today, I would normally say, hey, get ready for a brand new game and a brand new playthrough, and we'd all be excited. But I have no idea what's going to happen. I'll tell you all about what's happening, what the solution is, and more on today's Level 1 podcast.
Oh boy.
So let's do it!
Who is this for? What is this
All
for?
right. So everyone, welcome to the show. Today is Friday, the 27th of October, 2023.
Before I even get to the Comcast portion of it, I want to thank the guy, actually. I want to thank Dave. Because of him and seeing him constantly doing these things, it has made me more aware of when I do it. And so I try very hard to not... So thanks.
Like I said, usually today would be my big day back after my day off from streaming yesterday. I'd be coming back in full force. Very excited for a brand new streaming week. In fact, today is the release of Alan Wake 2.
I don't give a shit about Alan Wake 2. I'm sorry. I've heard a lot of people talk good things about it, but it's just not my...
A horror game
not for me.
that we've all been waiting
Horror.
for 13
Horror.
years. A game that a lot of people thought would never be made. And by the way, a game that's being reviewed very well. Everyone who's playing it apparently is saying it is absolutely outstanding. I can't wait to play it. You know what IGN said? Not to say that I believe what IGN says. They actually said, listen to this.
So, discredit where you're going to be making this quote from and then go ahead and quote it. What the
best written psychological horror game since Silent Hill 2.
Horror. Also, another thing, too.
So either
because
it's amazing
of this guy,
or someone's really stupid.
because of me watching him and
I
how he
guess we're gonna
talks
see
on
when we
camera,
play it together.
I'm trying to make a very conscious effort to not
I mean, I am really excited for this,
touch
obviously.
like my head and pull
because
back my hair and all that.
It's going to be a special playthrough.
Just be stoic,
I played Alan Wake 1 when it was brand new. It was one of my more notable playthroughs from back in the day.
Notable
that
by
got
who?
me notable and got me a lot of attention on YouTube. So I'm very
Is
excited
it the
to
right
play
kind
Alan
of
Wake 2 with
attention,
you
though?
today. I have it. Yes.
I shout out to Raw Phil. This is the channel
How
where
can
I'm
I put
getting
it
this
way?
from.
I worked my ass off to figure out how to get this game for you guys.
Oh, we're not going to start right off the bat toxic. We're not. We're not even at the Comcast part yet. This is where I can shine. Let's just see it through. Maybe he is going to circle it back around. Let's just be positive. Let's just be...
Without being able to connect to the internet properly with my Xbox. But I got it done.
One snort.
I am up and running and ready to go today to play this game with you. Okay? But the problem is I'm having tons of internet issues. Alright? To recap, in a nutshell, while I was streaming back on Wednesday, my modems lost connection to the internet, and when they regained it, they have not properly worked. Okay? By some miracle, I am still able to live stream from my desktop. I don't know why. My desktop does not fully work with the internet. My Chrome browser seems to work fine with YouTube and allows me to broadcast and have no issues. I can even upload videos. But my Firefox browser won't even connect to YouTube.
So, let me put on my thinking cap for a second. Okay, so in the Detractorverse, in the Vortex, right now there's a big debate over what's going on with Phil. And it's gotten to the point where somebody actually made a website where you can exchange stocks. And so there's different types of coins that you can buy. One of them is Team Divorce because he has a wife who we have not seen in his content for a very long time. And it's gotten to the point now to where some people out there in the area are actually doing celebrity paparazzi style hits on them, which is, I don't know. That feels like touching the turds to me if you're swimming in that shit in that toilet, but that's just my opinion. What was I talking about? Oh, anyway, yeah, there's a bunch of different coin out there that people can invest fake money into, and it's fun. I'm Team Divorce personally. So hearing what he just said right there, that he can get access to YouTube and stream and stream, leads me to believe that his line, his main line, his cable line was filtered out. And essentially, an easy way of putting it is there is the main line going in. It hits like a ground block. It hits at the house, and then there's another side of that cable, and that hits the main feed. And it's all the same coaxial lines. It's all the same ports, all of that stuff. One of the biggest jobs that we had to do when we're out in the field is to maintain what we called a level noise floor. Not a level noise floor, but a lower noise floor. Essentially, and this is what I always used to tell my customers when I would talk to them and explain this type of stuff. The signal that you have isn't just signal coming from the pole to your house. It's actually a two-way street. It's communication going up and down, upstream transmit and downstream transmit. If your house is filtered out, the upstream transmit, which is essential in order to use the internet, is cut off. You could send stuff out, but you can't get stuff in. So I'm thinking that's how he's able to stream off of his Chrome browser, like he just said. I mean, look, he says he's having internet problems, but he's live streaming right now. So if we're taking a score at home, if I were to invest any kind of coin into what's going on here in terms of troubleshooting his stuff, I would say this is team filtered line, because his house is kicking back interference. And the way that we've heard and we've seen how he takes care of his house, I wouldn't be surprised. There may be a lot of interference or noise coming out from that condo, which caused the maintenance team to come out and put filters on those lines.
It'll load other sites, like it'll load like x.com,
xhamster.com.
and it'll load other things, but it won't even properly connect to YouTube. So what the hell's up with that? Something going on there, right? I have no idea. What could it be? All right. Everything else in my house won't connect to the internet at all. And I have 2 internet lines.
They
one
won't
in this
connect.
office and one downstairs. I've attempted wireless connection, wired Ethernet connection. I tried flushing my DNS.
Gross.
And stuff like that. We've tried manually using different DNS connections. For example, when we were troubleshooting this on Wednesday night, people suggested that instead of using the default DNS settings that Comcast, my internet provider, uses, that I change my DNS settings to the addresses of others, like Cloud.
I'm going to stop you right there. Explain what a DNS is. Explain it. What is it? What makes you... Okay.
Is 1111 or Google is 8888. So I tried that.
What's your ISP, Phil? Tell me what your ISP is.
And basically what happened is I could get it to like partially work, but not fully. So I could get some internet to load, but it wasn't full speed. It was just all...
Are you saying it's slow? Slow internet? I'll tell you, one of the biggest things, one of the most common things customers tell me when I go out to their house because they called for a tech, and then I show up, that when they tell me their internet is slow, it's barely there, well, that usually tells me that the line has been filtered. And you know what? Here's another crazy thing. If I had my work phone and I had your job on my route, I could see what the levels are inside of your house. That's right. I could see your signal. I can't right now. Not anymore. I don't want to see it anyway. You will get a very specific reading on your device, on your app, that tells you what the signal looks like. Whenever we go to a customer's house, we have to make sure that the signal going to all of your devices is mint. And it's not just a high signal versus a low signal. You have to have a balanced signal because, again, going back to what we were talking about before, the signal is a two-way street.
Screwed up. And I've tried absolutely everything. Just for the record, yesterday I had my downstairs modem unplugged for 3 hours, thinking in a 3-hour unplug, when I plug this thing back in, it has to do a total refresh job, right?
No. 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 In fact, you are depriving specifically the cable modem of what it needs in order to fix itself, in order for us to troubleshoot it.
Right?
I'll tell you why. Because just like before when I mentioned that every Comcast tech has an app where if they're routed your call, they could see what your signal looks like. They could see if the return path's been cut off and that it's been filtered.
Nothing. My phone still will only connect and then say there's still no internet. Same thing, here, if I plug this laptop directly into my modem, there's no internet connection. It says it's connected, but no internet connection, no response from the server, or you were rejected by the server. That's what it says. So it's obvious there's some serious problem, all right? And quite frankly, I know it's not me. I did nothing. I changed nothing. I was sitting here...
He did everything right. He did nothing wrong.
Streaming when all this happened. So something happened on the Comcast ISP side, right, that screwed everything over. And I don't know what. Now, yesterday I called Comcast on my day off.
You know what? I'm going to toe the company line, and I'm going to say if it wasn't for the customers, we wouldn't have a job. And so that we are indebted to the customers because they enable us the ability to, live our best lives or something.
After a half an hour of wasted time, which I knew it would take, I finally got them to agree to send a tech out here.
Oh, so he fought them to bring it to... Okay. So, first off, unreliable narrator. So, let's take that into consideration. Second, if what he is saying, by the grace of God, is actually true... Because for those that do not know, the boy is prone to embellish the truth a little bit. He had to fight them to get a tech to come out. He had to convince them. So what I'm thinking here is we're still buying and we're still investing into filter coin because the operator is also able to look at the app that will allow you to see what the signal looks like. And in fact, that's why I said earlier that it's important for you to keep your cable modem plugged in to the cable, because then whenever the signal or whatever is taken care of, it will start sending the data that it needs because it's constantly updating firmware and everything else inside. Let's keep going.
Because they said there's nothing else they could do to fix it. You know, they don't know anything.
Fuck off with... No. We're being positive. We're working towards a solution.
Tried to get a tech out yesterday, but they said they could only send a tech within a 4-hour window. And I told them, you can't do that. I have stuff to do. It's my day off. I have appointments and things that I have to go to.
Allow me to give you a little bit of exposition here. Phil works 6 days out the week. He streams early day stream and then a night stream. He works by sitting there and bitching about Comcast and complaining about detractors and moaning about trolls and reading and belittling the chat. I can go on. I'm losing the plot here. What am I getting at? What is he talking about?
So I can't sit around all day waiting.
That's right. This is very important. This is like dire straits. This is the end of the world. This is an extinction level event for the guy. But he cannot be bothered to stay at his home for a 4-hour window for the technician to come out. You know what that time was better spent doing? I want you to take a wild guess. Just look at that. That right there, that haircut, that was more important than getting his internet fixed. The very reason he is on camera right now talking this mess.
You to show up. So they said, well, the only thing we can do is schedule a tech to come tomorrow during a 2-hour window. And I said, let's do that. So the tech is scheduled to come this afternoon.
By the way, the 2-hour time frame, bro, there's a reason why I stopped working for...
Okay. In fact, the tech might show up as early as in 45 minutes or so. Or the tech could show up in another 3 hours. Serious.
I almost did it. I almost went to that. I almost dropped down. My crown was slipping, but I caught it. It's not the tech's fault if they don't make the time frame. What I'm going to say, and I'm going to be very diplomatic when I say this, is that maybe there would be other more favorable ways of doing the protocols and procedures that assigns and dictates which tech gets what job, in what area, and how far away, and so many other things. That's just another video.
Like, that's how they do their windows, right?
One of the many reasons why I'm not there.
I have no idea what's going
anymore.
On. I don't know why this is continuing. I've tried like,
but nothing but love, nothing but love.
We did a 2.5-hour troubleshooting session the other night.
It's over.
That didn't fix the issues. I'm lucky for 2 big reasons. Number one, I have no idea why I'm still able to stream only on the desktop, only through the Google browser.
I'll tell you why. Team filtered line.
I have no idea, but I can. As you can see, I'm online right now, right? So I don't know what's going on and why this is still working, but I'm deathly afraid that I'm going to lose my connection again, or that, the computer might restart, or something's going to happen, and then I lose connection and I can't stream anymore, and then I can't work, right? That's number one.
This is work, by the way, number one. This is work.
The other reason I'm lucky, and this is complete 100% random luck. Earlier this year, I renewed my internet packages, meaning my 3-year agreements that I had with Comcast had expired, and they were going to charge me ginormous full price. And I said, well, I'm not paying ginormous full price for this. I need to go into new 3-year agreements. So the new 3-year agreements, one of them included, and I didn't even know this, a backup 4G wireless cellular internet device. By the way, if you're wondering what that noise is, that humming, I have no fucking clue. It sounds like something outside. It's really annoying. I'm going to have to close the window if it keeps...
It could be the Comcast guy. It could be the maintenance trucks out there. The cherry picker trucks. You've probably seen them. If you are in an area that gets Comcast, you've probably seen these trucks.
It's actually driving me nuts. What is it? Hear it? Oh, I think someone's doing lawn work around here.
This dude...
Anyway.
No!
This 4G internet device is insanely slow. You can't stream on it. You can't upload on it. It's just like a trickle of internet, like a drop of internet, okay? But this thing
filtered line
allowed me to download Alan Wake 2. I bought it, and I downloaded it. Guess how long it took to download Alan Wake 2? Alan Wake 2 is around 80 gigs. It took 13 and a half hours to download Alan Wake 2 on this. That's how slow it is.
You know why? Because you can still download, but it's at a very slow clip.
The good news, though, is I have my laptop plugged into this device. So I have chat working, I have contribution tracking, and everything working on my laptop as normal.
Oh, okay? Good.
So the good news is I can actually stream. Like, I'm streaming right now. It's working. I can play a game and stream. It should be the correct speeds and everything. I got my setup working. So I can work. The problem is, at any moment it could go out, and then I lose connection. I'm done. And then I can't work because I'm not going to be able to get it back. That's number one. Number two, I have a completely worthless modem downstairs. And that's the modem that I do all my other stuff on. You know, our cell phones, our Fire Stick, you know, Amazon Fire Stick
so
to watch
your
TV and YouTube
residential
and
stuff?
That's connected to it. That's what I actually have as a backup device for the laptop as well, that if this modem or something goes down in the office, I have a backup device to at least get online and tell you guys what's going on. It doesn't work at all.
I can speak on this. This is only my opinion. I do not represent the views of the company as a whole. I should have started, continued on, and finished with this, by the way. Having a residential modem and a business modem in the house, the same house, brought to you by the same line, which is what he has, which is usually what is the you really should have two, but nobody ever gets two ran unless something goes wrong. It's redundant. It's redundant to have a business class modem and a residential class modem in the house at the same time.
So I need to have this guy come out and figure this out because, you know
what happens, though, if you're a Comcast worker or an employee, like a call center person or a troubleshooting person, you have to have a business class modem in your house.
God forbid we have a blip in the power.
By the way, look at this dude's... No! We're not being toxic. We're being helpful.
Or this connection, for some reason, disconnects and I can't reconnect it, then I can't work, right? I can't stream. So this sucks. The worst feeling is when you don't know what's going wrong and you feel helpless because you just have absolutely no way to help it yourself.
I don't know. I keep thinking about whenever he says shit like this, it makes me think, like, I immediately hard cut to, like, there's like Dick Stroking Phil vlogs, for an example, a king of editing. There's always, Phil will get on his soapbox and start talking up some, like, big righteous thing, and then it's a hard cut to the immediate opposite. And there's always that back and forth. It's that push and pull. It's that ebb and flow. Yeah, no, he does this constantly.
You know? At least there was something I could do here.
What I was getting at was he had a stream where he was talking about bitrate versus YouTube and Twitch, the differences between the two. You can apparently do more on YouTube, and apparently that means a lot to this guy. So good for him. He can live his best life despite the fact that it may be fueled by delusions of grandeur, because there was somebody in the chat, and I mean, okay, so maybe this person might have been a troll. There is no way that you can say for sure or not, or maybe this guy was legitimate. He claimed that he knew exactly what type of bitrate was for what resolution. I mean, anybody with a Google can figure out this information as well, but he tried to let him know, hey, you may not be all right on this. Like, you may be missing the mark. He's like, nah, fuck you. Get the fuck out my lobby, and don't ever come back. But before he got kicked out, he got banned. He laid it in on the boy. It was incredible. Check the detractor verse, man. Check the vortex for that. That was funny as shit.
This out for myself, but I can't. I mean, we've tried everything. We tried messing around with every possible solution on Wednesday night. None of that worked. You know, Comcast, like I said when I called them yesterday, they don't know shit. The people they have on the customer service line are literally that, just customer service reps. They don't know anything technical at all. All they do is sit there and read a checklist. And they're nice. They try to be nice or whatever. But I tell them, as soon as I start talking to this person, I'm like, there's no way you can help me. I'm going to tell you the whole situation. You're not going to understand what I'm saying. So I tell them the whole situation. They don't understand what I'm saying. They, you know, kick it off to someone else. Oh, they don't know what I'm saying. Okay, we need a tech out there. Okay, that's what I thought. You know.
You can do this all automated, by the way. You can say, hey, can I send a tech out through the app? You don't have to interact with anybody. And in fact, they prefer that you use the app. They don't want to use the call centers. They know the call centers are not meeting expectations.
Oh.
The app makes it easier.
I guess we're going to see what happens today when the tech shows up. I'll be honest.
You see this shit? You see this shit when he's picking at himself? That makes me conscious of if I do that. So thank you, Phil, for that.
Honest, the techs are great. Like, every tech I've ever had out to my house from Comcast is educated. Very, very smart and troubleshooting mindset. Pretty much knows the ins and outs of everything. You know, the only thing is they don't know, and this is hilarious. You ready for this?
I feel like I start with, like, I have this knee-jerk reaction where I just want to shit on this guy, but he doesn't know any better, and I'm trying to frame it in a way that is more helpful than mean, but at the same time, like, so. When I used to rock with Comcast, I feel like a lot of their systems probably meant well, but we had to go through a lot of very rigid hoops, to put it plainly, in order to get anything done. There was a certain bureaucratic way of doing everything, and you had to abide by it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that maybe some technicians, a lot of contractors, and of course just reducing the amount of churn a company has. They want to make sure that you are using your workforce to its most potential throughout the 8-hour day. And it's never usually an 8-hour day. It's usually a 10 or 11. And then they tell you that you should never expect to have just a simple 8-hour day. You're always going to be expected to work overtime. Man, fuck that.
Don't necessarily know the ins and outs of hardware.
And the thing of it is, it's not our job to know the ins and outs of the hardware. Once everything works at our devices, you're on your own with your devices. If you come across a technician that wants to be nice and maybe risk their job because they want to touch your equipment, yeah, that all really depends. You kind of have to read the room. You have to kind of know what's going on. If there's somebody out there, here's a little insider tip, by the way. If you are a technician, if you are also a technician, and a customer says, "Hey, can you go? Install the cable modem over here on this computer, or install this cable box by the television over there." Ask the customer to turn on the computer, and ask the customer to turn on the television set. And you know why? Because if you turn it on and then all of a sudden, oh my God, the TV wasn't broken when I turned it on, guess what? You just bought him a new TV.
For example, at one point, I needed to change my IP address. This was many, many years ago when someone was DDoS attacking me, okay? And I told them I need a new IP address. And we sat here for an hour to figure out that Comcast modems
do not do that. They do not do that.
Auto search for the same ISP, the same IP. Even when you disconnect them and reconnect them to the internet, they don't get a new IP.
I'm screaming right now. I can explain it to him. I can literally...
They auto-search for the same IP and reconnect to it no matter what, if it's available. So the only way to get a new IP address on a Comcast modem is, number one, have 2 modems.
Not a new one. I think you got that mixed up with MAC addresses.
Think about this. Plug them both into the same Ethernet line at once.
Ethernet line? No.
Okay?
First off, wrong. Second off, wrong. Ethernet? You missed the entire point. No, you don't connect the Ethernet. You connect the coaxial.
One has your old IP, one has your new IP. When they both have the IP, get rid of the old modem and just keep the new one plugged in.
Are you... We're being chill. We're being chill. So let me try to explain this. And I'm going to be very plain when I talk about this, because it can devolve into it can delve into the abstract. So let's see here. No.
And that's one way. Or to unplug the modem for so long that someone else grabs your IP address by plugging in and refreshing their own modem.
Is this guy insinuating that you just get IPs randomly when you unplug and then plug them back in? Is this what he's saying? Is this a static IP thing? Is this something that, gets released and then redistributed just willy-nilly?
And then when you plug it in, you get a new one. But there's no way to know how long that could be. That could be...
Because it doesn't happen like that!
5 minutes. That could be 5 hours. That could be 5 fucking days. So...
How about 5 fingers across your face? No. We can't do this. We can't do this like that. We're trying to be helpful.
That's the thing. Like, with Comcast, it's so hit or miss. None of the employees who work there on the phone know anything.
It depends on who you talk to.
You might as well not even call, but you have to call.
No, you don't. You use the app. That's why the app exists. Use the app.
To the next level of support. When the texts come out.
If you had the app and you looked at the app, the first thing it will show up if you are having an outage is tell you you're in the middle of an outage. You don't have to have a tech come out because we already know what the problem is. And the people that are assigned to do that job are doing the job.
They're very smart. The problem is they come out and they usually don't know what they're up against. They don't even know what problems they're trying to fix.
True. This is true. I will give him credit. I'm being critical. I'm not trying to be cruel, but I got to give him credit. We got to be fair. Listen, we got to be better, okay? When we walk into a house, whether it be because of miscommunication, incompetence, or a mixture of the two, we don't know what we're working with until we talk to the customer, and that has always been the rule. You may get a work order that says simple connect a Amazon girl to the Wi-Fi, which we don't do, by the way. But they'll build the work order, they'll assign it to a tech, they'll shove it into your route, and then you go out there and they go, all right, so my mounted TV's over there. I need to have the modem over there. I don't have a TV yet, but I would like to have a box over there so I can install it. And I go, wait, stop. What about the Amazon girl? I was supposed to connect that to the Wi-Fi. Oh, yeah, no, I already took care of that, but I was supposed to get 5 TVs installed and a new cable modem relocated down here. That call that I got, so it's actually a 5-room install. I'm gonna be here about 3 or 4 hours, so you gotta move that other call that I also had on this time frame, but they gave me this call because it was built in correctly. You see, it works both ways. I gotta give them credit. It happens more than you think,
because the person who you talk to on the phone doesn't know shit. So it's like, imagine if
you don't know shit. Hold on, I'm being mad. I'm being wild.
Right?
We're not doing that.
And someone needs your expertise, but then they tell you, I don't know what you need. I need you for. You're just gonna show up, and what am I here for, right? No one can tell you because everyone's so dumb they don't understand rocket science, so they can't tell you what.
Everybody's so dumb they don't understand rocket science. The mask is slipping. Let's continue.
You're actually needed your help for. That's pretty much it. So I know what's gonna happen.
He knows everything. Obviously. He runs this shit. Like his hairline's running from his... Oh, I gotta stop.
This tech will walk into my home and have no idea what they're here for.
True.
All they're going to know is, so your internet doesn't work, right? That's it. Because I explained the entire situation to that person on the phone, and
You never have to explain the entire situation. Hey guys, I'm a 15-year content creator. You may know me as Darkside Phil. I was famously caught masturbating on screen. And I treat my chat like shit.
Take the bubbles and shut them up your fucking ass. How about that? And
I am consistently begging and crying poor because I am a gambling and alcoholic addict. Shit! I said I was going to be positive, so let's be positive.
I guarantee you they didn't understand a word of it, and they just said, oh, well.
What's that supposed to mean? The mask is slipping. Let's continue.
I'll get a tech out there, you know?
And you see he was even biting. Okay, so if you've spent enough time in the Detractorverse, you may notice a couple of patterns, a couple of ticks, maybe. A couple of isms, if you will. If we're stealing a Street Fighter term. If you search the name DSP on YouTube, you may get a couple of his videos. I mean, he's made a lot. But you may also come across compilations of him being... If we're being kind and diplomatic, a fucking bigot, racist, sexist, and yes, an overall shitty person.
Another one.
You would know that when he goes like this, there's a very good chance that there is a person of color or of culture on the screen or around him or in front of him or in his general vicinity or even imagine in his head.
This is pretty funny. Now, of
Touching
course,
myself, I gotta stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some insano conspiracy theories. We have people literally saying things like, what if
Swing, my boy, swing.
this is an elaborate detractor's plot? I'm serious. People are saying this. What if people who don't like you have set this up to ruin you or whatever? All right? Well, I would say a few things. Number one, if this is an elaborate detractor plot, this is probably the most elaborate plot ever. Like, this is more elaborate than them catfishing me for a year and a half and pretending to be someone else to become a moderator and then pretend to be my friend, but then try to, like, hurt me or leak information or get me banned. And that happened twice. That literally happened twice in my years as a content creator. And this is, I'd say this is more elaborate than that. This is more elaborate than them completely fabricating this situation with fucking mobile games.
So, there was... I'm going to use DSP's words. If you want to find a single video on YouTube that explains his side of things, that video would be the Side Scrollers interview. It was a 5-hour epic, fuck Godfather 2, fuck Avatar 2. That was pure cinema. Simonin. It was pure cinema. And the guy, during this interview, said he plays mobile games. But not enough to show... You know what? I'm not even getting to it. That's another video.
Providing years, apparently, of fake Discord chats and completely falsified information.
You see, after watching enough of this guy, you can start noticing his tics. It's almost like he's like... If he's shaking his head as he's saying something, if he's saying something and then he returns to looking at something, he's crafting some shit in his brain. He is weaving a new spell.
About bank statements, all the
Bank statements. Those are fake.
shit they've done there, right? It's more elaborate than that. It's more elaborate than when we had a fake escort, right?
now he's trying to. There was also an arc where the detractors got one wrong, but they also kind of corrected themselves, and then they owned up to it. It was a big nothing burger, but of course this guy is going to point to that every time he's trying to discredit people that are making these accusations towards him, because if they were wrong that one time, they could be wrong every time. But like, that is obviously both like right and wrong at the same time. So like, that's what makes it so shitty.
That didn't exist, but was, again, more catfishing, fooling people with all this fake information. It's the most elaborate thing they've ever done. But you know what? It's not impossible. I would say it's not impossible. Seriously, I wouldn't put anything past anyone, because people are absolutely insane. And you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? Is there someone who works at Comcast who has control over this kind of shit, has a bug up their ass about me, and is willing to risk their job to fuck with me?
It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
Maybe. You know, because some people have said, well, I don't understand, Phil, if your internet's screwed up, why about your neighbors? Well, my neighbors wouldn't be affected. Why? They would only be affected if the internet outright went down. I have completely different hardware and a completely different setup than them.
Bullshit! 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 I call bullshit! It's the same line coming from the same tap, going into the same houses. And especially with condos, I'm gonna be 100 with you guys. I'm gonna peel back the curtain a little bit. Condo cable lines usually fucking suck. What? Yes, I'm gonna tell you why. The electricians that install the cable lines into these newer buildings, they will use the cheapest things possible. There's different types of grading for different types of coaxial cables, and if you want to get cheap with it, you can get something that's called 59 cable, 59 coaxial cable. And in fact, if you have 59 coaxial cable in your house, rip that shit out, because it is not good. You want at least the mid grade to the big grade. And I'm not even going to, 11's the thickest. One of the thickest. There's 32s, and I'm not even getting into that. That's not even the point. Condos usually have shitty lines going throughout their houses, inside of the walls. And if you own a condo, you cannot get your lines replaced inside the walls unless you go through a contractor, and that is very expensive.
I have all business class modems and different accounts. They don't have that. They just have residential internet that's called Xfinity. Mine's a completely different thing.
No, it isn't. It's a different name. That's all it is. It's a different name, different type of modem. It's a business class modem.
So that's why, like, even though I'm using the same lines as them, unless it's an outright, oh, internet's completely out, they likely would have no idea that I have any problems, because we're on different lines and everything, different accounts and everything. You see what I'm saying? Now, what's funny is Tyler in the chat says, really, dude, you're not that important. I know.
Tyler, you are the realist. Big ups to Tyler.
Oh, I know. Tyler, I think you have reached my point. I'm not important. I'm Joe Nobody. I have a little presence on the internet, right? A few hundred viewers a stream.
And you know what's sad too? I wish I had his numbers.
A few thousand viewers a video, if that. Probably.
That's where all of this is coming from. It's from a space of insecurity, really.
But I'm able to make a living doing it. And a lot of people have an issue with that. They don't like that. That I can still be successful. You know what I'm saying?
This is successful, by the way.
For some reason, and you tell me that doesn't make sense. You're right, it doesn't make sense. I agree with you, Tyler.
Doesn't make sense because none of this makes any
sense. Would you have catfished people for a year and a half to pretend to be someone to become a moderator?
Again, unreliable narrator.
Would you have elaborately invented a bunch of falsified information about mobile gaming? Would you have pretended to be an escort, faking that you were visiting me and doing all this for like a 6-month period? Do you see what I'm saying? None of this makes sense. Absolutely none of it makes any sense at all, and it's all happened.
Bullshitting.
So I wouldn't put it past someone to say they're nuts, they're complete losers.
By the way, this guy has such a deterrence. He's like so against mentally ill people or mentally deficient people, which is unbelievably like.
And they're wasting their life, and they're actually risking their livelihood to fuck with me. I don't think that's the case. I think that's the.
But I just talked about it for a couple of minutes. It's not true though.
So I really don't believe that that's the case at all. Okay? But it's a possibility, right? I guess the weirdest thing about it is that the way the internet blipped out, we were live streaming Spider-Man, and it went from green to red, and then right back to green within 60 seconds. So within a minute, everything was back up and running. And that
Team filtered line. That was the tech. Taking the line off, shooting it for noise, seeing that it was noisy, putting the filter on, and plugging your line into the filter into the tap.
that makes me feel like that's a firmware update. You know what I mean? Because
Nope.
if it
It
was
is not.
a DDoS attack, which it's not because no one has my ISP or my IP.
Yet.
But if it was a DDoS attack by some random reason, let's say someone does have a bug up their ass about me or whatever,
We do not support DOS attacks.
Restart, and that takes a while.
DDoS attacks. We do not support
and
that.
I would have noticed that, and that's not what happened. It just went bloop, and then bloop, came right back, and I was able to stream within 60 seconds. So it definitely feels to me like that's the case.
Gross.
You know what I'm saying? But what happened and what changed and what is screwing with my internet, I don't know. I really feel like it's a DNS issue because
Explain what a DNS issue is.
how is it that I can half connect to the internet but not fully? How is it that only one
You're filtered.
device is working and
You're
not
filtered.
others? How is it that when we tried changing the DNS address
Who's
to
we?
Comcast, to Google or Cloudflare servers, that I was able to at least partially get on the net? Right? So that's got to be it. Now the question is, what's the solution? I don't know. I don't know what changed. So I don't know how Comcast...
Your lines are shit inside your condo. They're going to need to be replaced. You're not going to want to pay for it. And you're going to be filtered off for the remainder until you get it fixed, because we're not introducing your noise to the rest of the node, the plant, the system.
could possibly fix it. Are they going to come in and say, we don't know shit, so just change out both modems completely and see if...
They would not be able to swap out the modem, actually, by the way, because the activation, again, we're talking about a signal coming and going. We would not be able to activate a brand new modem with the filter on the line.
that fixes it? That might happen.
It is not.
They might be like, I don't know. Just change both modems. And that would be insane.
They can't do that because if it was a business tech, if it was a business class tech, it depends on what the tech has in the van.
If that happened, but that might happen, you know?
Gross.
So I guess we're going to find out today. But the problem is, I don't know when they're going to arrive. Again, they could arrive within about 35, 40 minutes, or they could take hours. I don't know how long this is going to take to fix. And again, this is not their fault. This tech that comes in, I'm going to be so nice to this person.
Oh, please be so nice to this person. Please be so nice to this person. It is not his fault that you are talking out of your ass and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Because can you imagine working as a Comcast tech?
Could you imagine? I could imagine. For 11 years, I could imagine.
You literally are walking into a hornet's nest every...
Yep, a hornet's nest full of litter boxes full of cat shit, animal dander all over the house, probably a shit ton of styrofoam, a lot of DoorDash containers, and then all of the rat's nest of wires that you have on the floor in your studio. I mean,
time you walk into a business or a home, you have no idea what's going on.
True.
Because no one gives you any information.
I would get notes on my job saying, customer has COVID. Please keep away. Like, no, reschedule.
This person is literally probably just told, so his internet's out, you got to fix it. That's it.
That's pretty much it.
They're thinking it could be a line. It could be, it could be a simple thing. Maybe the guy's a dunce and doesn't know how to restart his modem.
That happens a lot.
It's good. And then you're going to walk in and like, oh, fuck. This is going to be the most elaborate thing, right?
Gross.
Yes, Franco, hello. I remember you were trying to help me the other day. Thank you very much for that. Okay? Franco, my modem upstairs is not working fine. It's not. I already... You missed out on some information. My upstairs...
Hey, sorry, I came in late.
On my desktop will not work
No,
properly.
you're supposed to be
My
present for
Firefox
the entirety
browser won't
of
load YouTube at
the
all. I tried
podcast.
to do
Don't
it,
you
it
know
says
what
there's
the
no
fuck this
internet
is?
connection, But then it'll load like x.com. It'll
Shout
load
out
other
to
sites,
Sly.
it'll
I'm
load
sorry.
YouTube.
I stole the
There's
gun
weird shit
thing.
going on.
It's so good.
And it's
I have
not
to
what
have
you're
it.
saying, okay? And again, you got to remember, I've directly connected to my modem. I haven't used any router or anything. I've tried plugging directly in with the Ethernet cable. It didn't fix this problem, okay? So, anyway,
Gross.
this is going to be a wild one. And Man, I hope we get it fixed today. If not, see, here's the problem. If it's not fixed today, what's the next step? What if they can't figure out what it is?
What are you doing right now? What is this? I don't see what the problem is. Do something else. If you can't read, I think his biggest problem is that he said, I'm using his own words here, unreliable narrator, is that he can't read off chat. He can't read chat and read off contributions. Well, I hate to tell you, buddy, but ain't nobody contributing to this shit.
Well, they have a responsibility.
Look at this. Look at the fear in this man's eyes. He's shook.
Smoke weed every day.
I need to fix my internet because I'm paying for it. You know, but what's the next step? If the technical know-how and expertise, they don't know what's going on. I don't know. I feel like what's going to be doing is levels of troubleshooting, right? First, they're going to try to run tests on their end. Then they're going to try to change stuff, maybe swap out hardware. I don't know.
Now he's just repeating himself.
How long could this could take hours. You know, hours and hours of just messing around, trying every possible thing to diagnose.
He's
what's
freaking
going on
out
and go from there.
Not
Now,
being with that, not being with
people are
internet.
Like, so what did you guys do last night? So last night we took one of our phones and turned it into a hotspot.
You don't want to do that.
And we used the hotspot to connect our Fire Stick to the phone, and we actually watched some YouTube videos and stuff. But here's the problem with that.
Hey, watch some of my YouTube videos, by the way. YouTube.com/BM2KX. We stream a bunch of Step Mania. We have a lot of fun doing that. That is my archive for all of my Twitch streams. We have a lot of fun there, too. We got a lot more going on.
Hotspot data. And the thing is, originally when I went to download Alan Wake 2, I thought I'll use the hotspot. So I did, and I downloaded like 30 gigs of it.
Oh, boy, you don't want to do that.
And I looked into it, and it said, oh, you have limited hotspot data. I said, oh, fuck.
It's unlimited data is not
and that's
unlimited.
when I started using this weird 4G backup device that's really slow, because I was going to exceed my hotspot limit. In which case,
imagine going over your data for Alan Wake 2.
You know, so I don't want that to happen. So we did I think it used only like a gig. We were watching like YouTube videos last night.
Watch my YouTube videos. I also have my professional wrestling matches, including a match that I had with AEW superstar Action Andretti in Galena.
So likely we were watching
and
480p
in a 6-person tag team match against AEW and Ring of Honor superstar Khan.
Got an eyelash bothering me. It's my eye. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. All right, at any moment, I can get a phone call, and by the way, that might happen. So if that happens, here's what's gonna do. I'm gonna mute the mic. And
here's what's gonna do, guys.
All right, so you're not gonna see me. I'm gonna.
Graphic design is my passion.
Be over here muting the mic, talking on
graphic
the phone
design is my passion.
Tech, who likely is on the way, right? Because I'm gonna get a phone call at some point.
You're gonna get a text message, if anything.
Because again, they could show up as early as
text
in a half
hate
an hour,
calling
or
the
they could take
customers
2-3 hours to show
because
up
it usually is, hey, this is so and so, your technician. I'm about 10 minutes away, and then they'll go, oh, I'm out. I'm 45 minutes away. Can you wait for me?
But the point I'm making is there's no.
And then they wonder why your tech is late on the rest of the route.
Well, what's the point of starting when I know I'm about to get interrupted?
You're doing something right now.
Right? All it's going to happen is going to give us tremendous blue balls. We're going to be sitting here.
Who's us? Who's us?
Here and starting a game, and immediately we're like, oh my God, now I can't play. Right? So there's no point.
Nobody's thinking that.
Wait for the tech to show up before we start with gameplay. And I really am hoping for a quick fix, and then we can jump right into Alan Wake 2.
No, it's not.
Play it and enjoy it, because again, the reviews are stellar for this game.
Gross.
And everyone is, really excited to see me play it. I'm excited.
I'm stimming because I'm so bored watching this guy.
I got to tell you about bullshit internet issues. It's bullshit, And again, what really is killing me is what is the cause of the problem?
You've been filtered.
And what's the thing that
filtered?
To prevent this problem?
Yo!
That's another issue too.
Let's
go.
Really
a matter of what's causing the problem? Fix it. But it's a matter of so how do we stop this from happening again?
You don't have trash lines inside of your walls. You don't leave bad splitters, store-bought splitters in the lines. You don't introduce the coaxial cable into the surge protectors that have the coaxial ports for
right?
To ground no, the system should be grounded
I don't
outside.
know. How do we stop it from happening again?
I'm gonna stop.
I don't know how you stop an issue like this, right?
I'm thirsty. Yelling at this guy.
Anyway.
Thrilling.
All right, so, folks, let's talk about Phil's day off.
And with that, I think we are done. Nobody gives a shit about Phil's day off except for Phil. I want to just thank everybody if you stuck around. I felt like the only way this was going to get done is if I did it immediately. I knew once the Phil's day off part showed up, we would be done with it. Hey, look, check this out. I'm a pro wrestler for MCW Pro Wrestling. I also do Twitch streams of Stepmania every weekday morning, and then we usually try to do a night stream where it's Mortal Kombat, Final Fantasy, Cyberpunk, and a lot more. So if you found any of this interesting, go ahead and give me a follow. No obligations or anything like that. I'm not even trying to be like the guy, but hey, if you stuck around for all of this, thank you guys. And I bet we can do this again sometime. So until next time, I will not stop until the boy
Acknowledge me.
Peace.